time, and then sitting there yesterday or February during the Super Bowl, which seems like years ago, you emceed the event that we did with him, and then to sit at lunch yesterday,
back it up further than that, so I knew Coach Wannstedt as the coach of the Dolphins when I was a kid and I was playing high school football. And then when I was going through my coaching career and I started to go through coaching changes, when I left Cincinnati, when I left Nevada, he was always somebody that I would text and say, hey, what do you think? I've got these couple different options to go between. We talked about a board of advisors yesterday. He was always one of my board of advisors that I would be able to text and say, hey, I've got these two options. What do you think the right move is? Or this is what's happened to me right now. What should I do? So he helped guide me through a lot of my coaching changes. And then, obviously being able to MC the event and sit with him yesterday with where we are now is really, really cool.
So great job, Jeremy. Jim Mandich did come up in our conversation. All right, Miami. So we have lots of notes, and Coach was gracious enough to spend some great time with us. And so, the takeaway is coaches do get coached. We took a lot of stuff the whole way home. We talked about it, but a couple of shout outs this morning, some things I want to blast out. Rob Thompson, really good friend of mine, fellow guy in the Huddle, sends me a box of cigars. And in the cigars, it's from Thompson Cigar. So Rob Thompson sends me cigars. Steve, happy 60th. You are truly inspiring. If people want to know why I do what I do, that's one of them. A big birthday shout out today to Brett Weisbrot, another guy in the Huddle. Happy birthday to you. Make it a great day. And then the last shout out is to the entire City Furniture team. Andrew Lee, you put together an amazing team. You and Vic. Mark, you may want to comment about our visit over to the West Coast.
Over to the West Coast. They were phenomenal. Great energy, what they're doing within their stores in the morning, a very similar, daily huddle. Just great culture over there. It was awesome to sit down and dive into what they're doing and help be a part of some of the changes they're making, and just great job. And then stopping over to see Jen as well over in the Davies store off Sheridan and 75 at the Ashley Furniture. So it was we put a lot of miles on the car yesterday, but it was awesome. Fun. Great people, great conversations, and just really helping people move the needle.
So let's stay on the theme today. It's a Winning Wednesday. That's the hashtag that we're using all day, and you gotta be looking at winners. Coach Wannstedt's a winner, and we'll talk about some of his winning principles. I want to talk about a couple of other winning people. If you did not see this, it's a phenomenal story. Shaquille O'Neal was driving up through I-75 through Gainesville and saw a woman tire blow out, and boom, she goes off the road. He stops, pulls off the road, gets there, helps her, calls the sheriffs. He is a Broward County sheriff, if you did not know it. And so the story, the video, a 7'3" guy standing on the side of the highway, making sure that this woman was okay, fist bumping with the sheriffs that did show up. That is a good dude. Why don't you tell your Shaquille story?
I was going to say, I have a great Shaquille O'Neal story. So in that video, you can see he's driving his semi. I mean, the truck that he drives on road trips is the front of an 18-wheeler. It's a whole truck cab. It's all black. And so I was driving home from Tallahassee one year and stopped at the Fort Drum Service Plaza on the Turnpike. I pull in and it's late. It's I think it's 10:30 at night. I was driving home at the end of a day. And I pull in, I'm getting gas, and this massive truck pulls into the diesel spot, and obviously diesel. And then sure enough, out of the truck walks Shaq. Boom, walks right in front of my car, and I'm kind of shocked. What? I'm at Fort Drum Service Plaza. There's no way that this is Shaquille O'Neal walking by. And right as he walks in front of me, I go, Shaq Diesel. And he looks at me and goes, what up, baby?
I love it. So, when you talk about legacy and you talk about that guy's going down as a good guy, very social, very giving, really awesome. In the department of other good people who are doing some good stuff, we have a double. I'm playing another song this morning. Tell me if you can feel this groove and tell me who's singing.
The lady herself, Tina Turner.
Woo! You must understand. The touch of your hand makes my clothes react.
I love it.
It's only the thrill.
Here, while we're talking about Tina, who's a ball of fire herself.
So the reason why I play that song is talking about good people and talking about people who have overcome massive adversity in their lives. The Tina Turner story is unbelievable. Her and Ike were amazing, and it's just kind of unique that you had mentioned that you fell on that song, Mark, which was kind of cool. But the whole idea that this woman is so incredible, she's overcome so many obstacles. She's now 80. In recent time, you may not know this, she overcame a stroke, a kidney ailment that made her need a kidney transplant. So she has done all of these amazing things. And at 80 years old, this Friday, Tina Turner will be actually launching a remix of that song. So she comes out of retirement to do What's Love Got to Do with It. And here's what I want to let you know. Love has everything to do with it. Everything. So if that's a question in your mind, if you don't love who you are, what you do, who you do it with, check at the door, man. You're out. Another quick shout out. Christy Ruiz is here this morning. Christy, what a pleasure to work with you, to start the week working with you and working with your team. Mark and I are both really, really enjoying it. The culture there is unreal.
Glad to see City hopping in the Daily Huddle with us this morning. And I just love the fact that we're talking about Shaq, who obviously makes everybody he meets feel amazing. When we talk about constantly, how do you make people feel when you're in a business environment with them? How are you delivering value? Obviously, Shaq makes people feel amazing. And then we're always talking about energy and bringing energy. And, I don't know that anybody brings energy to the stage the way Tina Turner did. So just awesome that those are the two people that we're talking about this morning. And then we get to talk about Coach Wannstedt some more, because we're going to share our notes from the event that we had back around Super Bowl time, which is also just an amazing piece of content.
Good. So let's jump in. Lots of great conversation happening, throughout the huddle. We ask you guys to please reach out to each other. Please do business, all that. So in the theme of good guys, I'll take you back to, like in my career, I was already representing a bunch of coaches. I had represented Coach Shula, which led me to the other coaches that came along. And then one day I'm at South Beach and I am at the All-Star Cafe, and I'm waiting for some kind of dolphin event. And this incredibly large human being walks in. People don't realize how tall Coach Wannstedt is. And he walks up to the bar, and I'm telling you, in 3 seconds, I felt like I knew him my whole life. He is the most unassuming, fantastic personality. One of the things that really drove me through all of our, working relationship and friendship is how respectful he is to people around him. He's incredibly respectful to his wife. Jan is an incredible person, and I learned a lot from him. He gave me my first Bible, which was amazing way back when. So we have lots of experiences together. And then, you get to sit down and you have lunch with him, and you realize the wisdom that he has from being in the role that he had. He has this amazing role where he was all the time, especially in NFL football, he was trying to get 22 people to do the right thing at the right time. And so our conversation was brilliant. Mark, I don't know if you want to jump in and go for it.
Yeah, it's great because obviously it speaks to my background, and I get to share some of the things that, happened in my career, and we share stories and we go back and forth. But, my favorite story of his is the flea story.
Yeah.
When he talks about, and he used this when he was at our event, but he tells the story about fleas being in a jar. And when you put, you put them in the jar and you poke the holes in it so that they can breathe and they can stay alive. He said initially when you put them in the jar, they keep trying to jump out and banging their heads against the top of the jar, right? So to the point where they'll eventually just stop trying to jump out, and stop banging their head against it, so you can actually take the lid off and they'll just stay in the jar because they've gotten tired of trying to get out and bang their head against the wall. So putting that towards leadership of don't put the lid on the jar for the people that you're working with. Allow them to jump out of the jar. And when we posted the picture yesterday on Instagram, one of my good friends from my childhood, Gus Moustakis, who played for him at Pitt, immediately wrote on the post, "Jump out of the jar." So I think the lesson learned there for leaders is don't put the lid on the jar for the people that you're managing or the people that you're leading. And for the people that are being led, don't ever get tired of trying to jump out of the jar. Every single day, try to jump out of the jar. So that's like
that's not a mantra to live your life by. I don't know what is. It's clear. It's simple. It's a major takeaway. But there's more, which is great. So then he relates running or playing football to life. And his saying is clear mind, fast feet, cloudy mind, slow feet. And as a football coach, why don't you jump in and share that?
Yeah, so that was all about knowing your job inside and out, because everything in football happens in 8 seconds and probably faster than that. That used to be the analogy, was every play lasts 8 seconds. It's really shorter than that in today's game. And so in order to be as fast and as quick as you could possibly be in that 8 seconds, you can't think. You have to be able to react on a dime. So you have to know exactly what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, no matter what's happening around you, in order to play at your best level, which when we talk to people about using your calendar, take the thinking out of what you're trying to do. When you calendar yourself and you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, when you're supposed to be doing it, there's no thinking. You can play fast and you can play your very best at the very best of your ability because you're not thinking.
And I relate that to my in the zone. People call it flow, people call it instinct. When you just know what to do and you're in the moment of doing it, not thinking about doing it, that could be the difference between success and failure. And I love that. It's so great and so genuine. All of the time that I worked with him, he gave me unprecedented access to the team, to team meetings. And I just learned so much. I learned when the rookies came in, I got involved with the rookies about what they were learning and role playing. Christy, there's an example of where role playing where, hey, listen, man, I just made a couple $1 million and now everybody in my neighborhood's all over me. But he said, you really got to understand who you are and understand your team. And so he would pick 3 words for the mission. And I took this away. I each year take 1 word and use it for the mission. But these were his 3 words that he shared: enthusiasm, integrity, and this one's a killer, finish. Most people don't finish. It's statistically proven that success is just over the hill of failure. So people quit just before they're going to be successful. You look at all of the examples. The one that jumps into my head is, the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken. He got 1,000 no's until someone said, yes, let's do that. So what do you think?
And in a football sense, when you talk about finish, it's about finishing the play or finishing the drill with the same tenacity, enthusiasm that you started the play with, which most people, if you look at it as a week, you start out on Monday, or maybe you don't start out great on Monday, but by Tuesday, you're fired up. You're like, I'm ready to do this. I'm going to get after it. And then by Thursday afternoon, you're like, it's 3:30. I'll just kind of coast through Friday morning, and then I'll take Friday afternoon off because it's the weekend now. That's not finishing. Finishing in a sport mentality is head down, hard sprint, full body lean through the finish. Not at it, not letting up before it and coasting through it. It's your full acceleration all the way to the end. So doing that in the business world or doing that through your week is hammering those last few calls. It's doing that last little bit of research. It's getting yourself tidied up and ready to go into the next day. It's that same invigoration. It's that same energy that you take at the start through the finish.
people used to freak out like all through my career when they would watch me and I would close a big deal and then I'd get right back into prospecting and they go, what are you doing, dude? Man, you just closed like the biggest deal ever. And I go, I want the next one, man. Next up, a big shout out to Ken Punzarelli. I'm so psyched that you're visiting from Denver. He's watching live from Denver. That's 2 hours earlier than this is live. So, than it is here, man. Way to jump, way to get in, way to do all that. My favorite Dave Wannstedt takeaway, this has impacted my life more than anything, is something I learned from him. And this is akin to football because everybody has an opinion. Everybody's got something to say about whatever decision you do. I want you to think about this, that if you were doing your job and there was a bunch of media people sitting there talking about what you do and the decisions you make, it's not easy to not get caught up in that crap. He said a term to me that I love. It's called friendly fire. And he told me, and we even talked about it yesterday, where there were times when he had to make a really hard decision so that he didn't lose the locker room. And I totally respected and aligned with that because being a leader of your own life, being a CEO of your own life, means you need to make decisions that, are not going to be popular sometimes, whatever, but you have to control what's happening inside your organization, inside your family, because what he pointed out to me is when the guys started battling each other, the game was over already before they even got on the field. Friendly fire, and this is true in war, is that most of the casualties come from your own bullets.
Real-time example from Andrew Lee and his squad out in Naples yesterday, which when we were there for their morning start, they were celebrating wins within the team because somebody had stepped up to take a role for somebody else so that person could go make the biggest deal of their career. And they were sharing in that. That's the camaraderie. That's the culture that you want to have on a team. And he said in most places, that's not what happens. When somebody asks somebody else to take this specific responsibility for them, they end up fighting about it and complaining about it. And that's friendly fire. In a football sense, it's when the offense is doing really well and scoring a lot of points, but the defense can't stop anybody. So they lose the game 49-42. And the offense is going, well, we did our job. We scored all our points. It's the defense's fault that they didn't stop anybody, that we lost. When really, if you want the culture to be right, the offense takes extreme ownership of it and says, you know what, we should have scored one more time. It's our job. It's our job to score enough points to win the game.
Fascinating, because what you will find in high-performing organizations is that they don't have this gossip shit that goes on. They're not bantering, they're not talking, because that is a cancer inside an organization that you really, and Navy SEALs prove this, you got to have the guys back no matter what,
So Ken Punzarelli says there's no I in team, which is correct, but I'm going to steal something from Michael Jordan because there is an I in win. And the I stands for the individual responsibility to take care of yourself and your teammates, to do everything that you can possibly do to ensure success. So that's yes, I have to do everything that I must do correctly, but it's not enough for me to just take care of myself. I got to make sure I'm looking out for everybody else around me. So there's no I in team, but there is an I in win.
So we could go on forever. We're bumping up against our hard stop, which, those of you who take our time management course know is we're really serious about. So I'll close it out with one last one. Playbook versus living outside the box. He talks about effort, and you really got to bring it all. So he has a formula: positive attitude plus effort equals high performance. And I don't know how it gets better than that.
Meaning you can't just be positive and not have the effort, because positivity with no effort doesn't get you there. And effort without positivity does not get you there. I used to say to our guys, I said, we need execution and attitude. You got to have both. That was my thing for our guys. So you can't get there. That's how you get unbelievable performance, is bringing in the effort plus the attitude. That's going to get you to success. Thank you, Coach Wannstedt, for all of the nuggets.
Yeah. So if you want to follow Coach Wannstedt, he is a Twitter guy. He's watching us live this morning. So jump over to Twitter when we're done. Thank him for his nuggets. The point I want to drive home here is that you are the sum of the people you hang out with. And shows you how life works. We needed to be on the West Coast. I was going to call Coach Monday morning. Guess who called me? We were on the same wavelength. What are you doing? Hey, I'm listening to Joel Osteen, and I was thinking of you. And what? I said, Coach, I can't believe it. I'm coming over there tomorrow. If you can free yourself up for lunch, I would love to just sit, because the time we spend together is magic. It's just unbelievable. I'm grateful. Just love having him in my life. He's been an amazing impact to us. And so follow him. He posts lots of great stuff. He's live on tons of stuff. He's going back to Chicago to be involved in all of the football that we're hopeful to have and all that stuff. So I'll close with this. Today is July 15th. My promise was that I'd give away 2 tickets to Paradise. At the end of today, we will go through and figure out a way to pick 2 people out of the huddle that are registered in Facebook to join us Friday for Learn LinkedIn Like a Pro. If you've done it before, please come do it again. I know Ken Poncerelli and his team are doing it again. Lots of people are doing it again. If you know somebody, we're giving a discount as an alumni. You can offer them the discount. But the reality is we're grateful, we're happy, and you know what? Pretty good. You want to close us out?
Have a great day. Let's get after it.
Okay.